Hello, hello, hello. Back with Working While Black, just waiting for Léla to come on. So we'll continue our series of Working While Black, speaking to black and brown professionals, both those that are in the team and those that are outside the team, to just find out a bit about their experiences really and what that's been like for them. We all have sort of apprehensions about sort of sharing these stories. People sort of say, "Oh, is that me you're talking about?" Or what's going on? But we're gonna talk about it anyway. So here comes Léla. She's just joining now. And of course, if you're not able to watch these today, please go back and watch them on our ITV page. Those will be sort of the posterity that we leave behind for people to sort of view at their leisure. So please do keep that in mind. Okay, here comes Léla. Let's just see if she can just join. And my name is Harvey Kennedy. I'm the founding director of Black Visa Health in one capacity, but also work in sexual health, sort of promotion and otherwise. So let's bring Léla in and she can introduce herself. There we go.
Hey. Hey, hi Harvey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for making this time. I know it's Saturday. Oh, but we have to fit people in when they can fit people in. Oh, you're probably thinking, oh, gotta get up and actually wash my face today. Well, that's not probably what you had planned. So, thank you so much for doing this. Yet again, I've got to be really thankful to sort of the Black Visa Health team, because many people don't realise, even though we put out loads of content, different types of things, we have our own professions. We have things that we do in the daytime, and this is sort of what we do. To just sort of let some of the passion that we have for some issues sort of out, and we utilise this platform to do that. So thank you for giving us your Saturday afternoon, even if it's for a short time. Just letting us to have a little chat, about how things are, what the deal is, because I think, it's good to talk about it amongst ourselves, but it's even more important to share that outside as well, so that people can maybe benefit from some of those experiences. Did you want to start by sort of introducing yourself? I do want to start by also saying that these are our views. This is not linked to any jobs that we have or any other positions that we hold, but it's just we're sharing our views, and if that's how we sort of feel, we should just sort of be able to do that. So thanks. Léla, go ahead and introduce yourself if you can, please.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Hear me? Okay, good. Okay, my name's Léla Campbell. I'm a teacher by profession, and I've been teaching for about 14, going on 15 years now.
Oh.
For a very long time. My background initially, when I left the university, was a biomedical scientist. So, a special hematologist, worked in a hospital for about a year in a lab, and realised it wasn't for me. So, into education. And my capacity in Black Beetle Health, I'm the income generation specialist. So I assist and help with grants and bid writing. Single mother of two beautiful girls, and that's me.
Amazing. So I guess I can start by saying, what was you've given a bit of your professional journey, but also, what was that journey like? What was the decision-making process like? Did you see like a scientist that you really loved, or did you see someone who was an educator that you really loved, and you want to be like them, or what was the process?
Right. I've always wanted to become a scientist from the age of about 10, 11. So I was really curious. I used to go around my garden, around my house, picking up insects, and Owen bought me a microscope, and it just went from there. I was just reading a lot. Everything was information, and I wanted to know, how did this work? How did that work? I went through the process of doing A-level biology, chemistry, and maths. Then going to uni to study biomedical science, and I just went from there. Then, funny enough, I spent a year, as I've said, working in a special hematology lab in the London.
And what's hematology? What is that?
Sorry, hematology is the study of bloods. So looking at the lab that I was in is special hematology, so not routine hematology. It's so where your blood samples. So when you go to the hospital, you get your bloods done. They come to our lab, and our lab specifically looked at sickle cell anemia. You know, protein.
Which, by the way, I'll say yesterday was Global Sickle Cell Awareness Day. You know, because we're running this series, we didn't do more about it, but well, you know, I just wanted to sort of throw that out there as well. But go on.
Okay.
So sickle cell, yeah.
Yeah, so looking at deficiencies in the blood, those, you know, special, we call them special disorders. So I was in the lab for about a year working there. The novelty did actually wear off because I thought to myself, I spent 4 years studying to become a scientist. This isn't what I envisioned. It didn't suit my personality. So, you know, I was really stuck. I was at a point I was really lost because I was thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I've always wanted to be a scientist. What am I going to do? You know, even walking around the hospital and going into other labs and, you know, just speaking to other practitioners and scientists. So what I actually did, I went back to my university and I spoke to my personal tutor and I said to her, Carol, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, Carol. Thank goodness for Carol.
So she said, oh, you know, I think you make a good teacher. And I said, no way.
Interesting. Interesting.
Crazy. I didn't go to university to be a teacher. However, you know, I wrote to my local schools. I did days here and there. And then I just went into it that way, did my training, and yeah, like I said, here I am 15 minutes.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
So what is the income generation? Because obviously, you know, we've had a conversation about how you could be part of the Black Beetle Health team, and you know, and I'm aware of you know, sort of your history of doing lots of grant writing and income generation. I mean, where did that come into it? Because we're talking about science, then we're talking about education. Now you're a grant writing specialist. You know, how is this all happening?
Right, so with during my time in education, I've had a number of roles. So not only has it been, you know, teaching, lecturing, you know, in FE, in secondary schools. I also had my own business, and it was a social enterprise. Actually, it was a social enterprise with which was for a community interest, because I saw that there was a demand in my area, particularly for individuals from low-income households. And you know, the studies are individuals from low-income households don't do as well education-wise or academically as people from, you know, more, you know, well-off households. So I set up this social enterprise, and it consisted of, you know, it was an educational hub, consisted of interventions within my local secondary schools, so doing GCSE maths and science, in primary schools doing numeracy and literacy. We also had music in the primary.
Yes.
And I also ran adult educational ESOL classes as well. And I was also had partnership with other organisations and charities. So at that time, I was a trustee on a founding charity in my community, and they did a lot of work within the community. So I was a trustee on their board, and also I was part of the regeneration, you know, area regeneration team in my area as well. So we had meetings with councils, MPs. I also did training on actually grant writing. And so I thought I'd use that transferable skill, you know, to help, you know, Black Beetle Health. So that's where I thought, you know, come into it. And also,
you know, I just want to say, I think it's so amazing that, you know, that there's so much skill. You know, every time I do an interview with one of the team, I go, oh yeah, you know, because I think the assumption, and people have criticised us on the website, you know, at blackbeetlehealth.co.uk, our base website. Why are you putting all these letters behind people's names? You know, what's the point? What are you trying to prove? And I said, because people forget. the assumption is when a person who's not a person of color walks in the room, that they're going to do a really good job, that they're going to be, really focused, they're going to deliver everything. And that, as we know, historically, that's not necessarily true. It's not race related. It just might be personality or, individual drive. And so I just try to remind people that actually there's a process to becoming who we are today and to skilling up and qualifying. That's something I think sometimes people fail to speak about because it's not assumed that education has been part of our experience. And so I continue to put the letters on the website. I continue to put them in every post that I do. If someone's got letters behind their name, I put it there and I raise it, in conversations because, it's just furthering the belief or the sort of challenging the belief that I guess people of colour are not as qualified and maybe haven't gone through the same process. So I just wanted to throw that out there that, you have some letters behind your name, essentially.
Yeah,
Go on.
Yeah, I'll add to that actually, because it's interesting that you said that because I find that, there's this expectation, that we have to have this, we have to be at, the finished article, finished polished article before we're taken seriously as Black people. And, I say to my students, I always say to my students, do you know what? Get to where you need to be, get your qualifications, slap it down in front of people with a big smile on your face, because you deserve where you need to, you deserve this job, you deserve this position, you deserve this role, your potential, but it's the fact that, your first appearance counts. And, we are at a slight disadvantage because of the colour of our skin, which shouldn't be the case. But, it's something that I drill into my Black students all the time because I find that they're not often told this. And, white teachers, they can't really relate to our Black children, our Black young people. And they can't say certain things because, in their mind it might be, I'm not racist. However, they'll put them under, different stereotypes of, they're loud, they're aggressive. In actual fact, we're quite emotional people.
And passionate. Yeah.
We're passionate. Exactly, we're passionate. So,
And I do want to say, as someone who at one point in my career qualified as a teacher as well, I taught science, I've reached out to Léla, along that journey and asked, for various resources and guidance and I think, I don't know if we had this conversation, but it's definitely a conversation that I have had with others to say, should I be like pulling Black students to the side and actually having a little word? Is that legal? Am I going to get in trouble if I pull a Black student to the side and say, tuck your shirt in, do your tie up, fix your hair, and then we're going to go back in the classroom and try again because we have to try a bit harder than other people to get where we want to be. Yeah. Are you aware of that? And I thought to myself, can I say that? Am I going to be in trouble? Am I going to get an email from a parent saying, how very dare you? I don't know.
No,
but now you've said it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's a risk that I'm willing to take and I have taken, and I can quite easily justify that if someone was to, say to me, Miss Campbell, I overheard you saying da-da-da-da, and I will say there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Because this is the case. This is reality. This is society today. Unfortunately, our young people have to go through this. And if they're not taught this, then, if they're not taught this by us, who have a major influence in their life, who else is going to teach them, And it's not always guaranteed, their parents might say the same thing to them, but, for them it's just, mum and dad, they're just always going on about it. But if that's backed up by someone in a profession, a professional person that they have interactions on a daily basis with, and I think the penny will drop a bit quicker. So
yeah, I mean, it's really reassuring to hear that. I think that it can be so difficult because I think for you, I can imagine. Well, I don't know in maybe your area, but I have often been the only Black teacher in my school, apart from in East London when I was teaching at St Bonaventure School. It was quite diverse, and people sort of had understanding. But in other schools that I taught in, no. I had, I was definitely the only Black teacher, and I was representing a lot of people in that space, but still had a job to do, and that's to educate students. And because you're a teacher, I'm wondering how you're getting on with the lockdown. I'm wondering, because obviously teaching generally happens in a classroom, I take it. So, how has that changed the way you're practicing as a professional teacher then?
obviously the face-to-face interaction, there's, that's not there anymore. However, I try to stay in contact with the students via Teams. Their engagement isn't the same. Their engagement isn't the same. So I'm literally spending every single day saying, hi guys, I've set you work. I've noticed that only one of you out of 27 or out of 34 of you have submitted work. What's happening? Is there a problem?
Feels like a normal day to me.
But it's a learning curve. It is a learning curve. It's a process that I had to learn how to deal with things. My day schedule. How do I schedule my day? How do I get used to not seeing the students, interacting with the students? That took some time getting used to. And I also do feel for the students as well, particularly my year 11s. My year 11s, having just been detached from them just that abruptly, it was really strange, because usually this time of year we're saying to them, this is a climax for them. GCSEs, we've been working 5 years for this. The last 2 years we've been working non-stop, and when it was announced that GCSEs were cancelled, it was like, Miss, what do we do? And I'm like,
I'm surprised they didn't start celebrating. I mean, I would have loved to have been in a room when they got that announcement. I mean, was there books flying around? The people just like rip their ties off and hike their skirts up and say like, we're taking back control?
There was a lot of disappointment,
Wow.
Because there's lots of students who they since the their last mocks, they've been working their socks off, because they realise, okay, these are my mock grades. Let me just fix myself up. And those mock grades are the grades that we've had to submit, and that is their grades that they're going to get as a GCSE.
Oh my goodness.
I
think it's such an important, teaching is such an important role still, despite, all the changes that, both generationally. Teaching is not what it used to be, in the same way that doctors will tell you that medicine is not what it used to be. And Adelaide's made a good point here in saying that, students do still appreciate being told straight, and still, and it's a great way to sort of, show them that we care, really, because when they go back home, some people don't even pay them any mind. They don't even speak to them. They don't say, I see you, and by maybe even speaking straight to students, it's saying, I see you, and what about, obviously, lockdown is one thing. How have you been managing with all of the social media buzz with Black Lives Matter, and, as a Black professional in your setting, whether virtual or in person? What is your take? How has it made you feel? How has it made others around you feel? How's it changed things for you? If at all, really.
Okay, so it's mixed. It was quite. I had mixed opinions at first. I thought, okay, so if we weren't in lockdown, would anyone actually pay attention to pay attention to this? That George Floyd would just be another Black guy who's died.
Yeah.
However, as time's gone on, and I've seen that people are actually wanting to make a difference, it's made me feel a bit more proud to be a Black person, should I say, because I feel that we've conducted ourselves very well, in these protests. I'm talking
blanket statement.
Over here.
Blanket statement. Not always, but yes.
And I find that, we could have easily been angry and lashed out, and, it could have gone the other way, which, further compounds that we're aggressive and, we're savages, this barbaric, etc.
Savages.
Yeah, exactly. However, I find that we've conducted ourselves very well, and I've found that we're actually starting to work as a collective, which I think is very important as Black people. I actually don't really like the term. I use the term Black loosely. I find that we should be calling ourselves Africans, or people of African.
Okay, go into it. I totally forgot about your views on this. Wow, I wasn't ready. Go on now, go on. I'm glad I put on some Yemi Alade. Some Yemi Alade was playing. I'm glad I came correct.
It's just that
Okay, go on.
the negative connotation and the stigma attached when you hear, you know, black. I find white people, they find it difficult to say the word black anyway, you know, or that black person. They'll say, oh, we're coloured, or, yeah, you know. And I find us as well, we can either be black British, black Caribbean, black African, black, you know. I think we should have, you know, kind of a collective term as Africans, because that's where we came from. You know, we should be gravitating towards that kind of geographical, you know,
association.
Yes, yeah.
But I will say that there are people, particularly Jamaican people, or particularly Trini people,
Yes.
or, you know, other people who will readily disconnect themselves from the African experience because
definitely.
they feel as though maybe by being Jamaican, you're in a better position, you know, or whatever it might be. I think it's really important to state that when you walk into a particularly professional setting, no one is asking you, but, you know, obviously people might have more African names or whatever it might be. You might be Caribbean and get away with having the last name Brown, Campbell, I don't know, Kennedy. You know, all these, you know, obviously westernized names. But when they see you, I can guarantee you right now they don't care if you're African or Caribbean.
Yes.
So realizing that actually by separating yourself from that, it is just your own coping mechanism, and it's your own way of sort of saying, well, I think I'm just going to place myself over here and make myself feel really good about it, when really to those that it actually matters to, we think it matters to, it doesn't really matter, because it's all about skin complexion and color really, more than place of origin, even though people might try to emulate, you know, things that they think we might say, such as, oh, but I'm not, you know, I was born here though. Great.
Yeah.
So you got a good, you know, you got a red passport. Great.
Yeah,
good.
Exactly.
That's what that means.
You know, and that in itself is just the divide and conquer. You know, we have that division, because by saying that, oh, I'm Caribbean, or I'm Jamaican, I'm this, I'm that. You know, we should be working collectively together, and just trying to break those, you know, that psychological mentality of separation, should I say, that was given or imposed on us.
Yeah, so I guess my next question to you, where do you think this is all going? You know, with all that, both black people and white people and other Latino people often get left out of that as well. But what do you think everyone is learning, and where do you think this is going? What do you think is happening next?
I'm hoping that it's not just a tokenistic approach, you know, where people are siding with us, if that makes sense, or, you know, protesting on our behalf and saying, you know, black lives do matter. I'm hoping that it is it creates a long-lasting impact, whereby I can say from a school aspect, we're working within schools to try and change the curriculum. So I'm actually on a team at school where we're trying to diversify the curriculum and celebrate.
Decolonize it.
Yeah, yes, decolonize, demystify, all of that. And as much as it might seem controversial, you know, because of the area that I'm in, you know, some teachers have already said, well, but I'm not white privileged because I wasn't about that. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't raised in you know, I didn't have lots of money. So there's a lot of training that needs to be happened as well in that direction within the staff themselves. So I'm just hoping that it is a long-lasting thing, and we're lucky enough to have a supportive head teacher. She's been in South London for 30 years, despite her being Portuguese, and she said she doesn't want it to be just a spur of the moment thing. She wants it to be a long-lasting thing, and she wants it to be run by black teachers, because at the end of the day, you as a white teacher can't say, oh yeah, I understand, you know, where, you know, just because they sympathise with us, they understand, and then they're going to teach our children, or even children as a whole, young children as a whole, or students as a whole, of about black history, when they don't actually understand it themselves. you know.
But I wonder, you know, when it comes to sort of things like diversity and inclusion training, you know, there's a debate. Should people of color be delivering that, or should white people be delivering that? You know, who should be delivering that? Who's better placed? Is it the responsibility of people who are people of color to deliver that information and to be the authority on that and to know it and to share it and to almost take themselves back through that journey to share that? Or should it be the responsibility of someone who's not from that experience to share their learnings from that?
Yeah,
Not under the supervision of people of color, but you know, with guidance and in
yeah,
collaboration with.
yeah, yeah.
I think someone said here it needs to be controversial. If it is to have any meaning, nothing that means anything is gained through being comfortable. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you
absolutely.
definitely have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to be able to talk about those uncomfortable, don't have that uncomfortable conversation with a white person. Because, and I find something that I mentioned to my deputy head. She, you know, she's Jamaican, black woman, very
Yes.
outspoken. She's angry, you know. And I said to her, we can't be angry, you know, because from the time that we start being angry, we're going to be ignorant and closed-minded, you know, because other people from other races, they have different experiences, and we have to kind of get past the anger and try to be open to their experience so they can be open to ours. You know, we have to be receptive in both directions. You know, we could I wouldn't suppress our anger in some sense, but channel it positively, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think Adelaide's made a point here saying it's all about who's creating the materials, you know, because the
Yes.
materials can be created and even the language or the imagery or the questions, you know, the discussion questions can all seem very one way, you know, and sometimes, you know, being collaborative in having those conversations and just being brave enough or humble enough, we call it cultural humility, to ask someone and say, I've created these questions, what do you think about them? Do
Yeah.
you find any of them inappropriate? In the same way that I would for someone who's living with a disability, or someone who has a a long term illness, or someone who is who is female. I'm very careful. Or someone who's non-binary. I'm very careful not to put information out there that I think would be offensive in that way. And run it past someone. Just ask a question.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
a text, or maybe just sharing an
Yeah.
image with them and saying, "How do you feel about this?" You know. And I think I've probably done that across the team, really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and respect as well. You can agree to disagree. You can have your own opinions. That's fine. If you still find that you, how do I put it?
Oh, I thought you were getting
If
stressed out. I was going, "Oh, good."
if you are from a generation of a set way, okay. So, for example, if you're in, I live in Essex, okay. So, there's
Oh, it's all coming
loads
out.
of
It's all coming out. The truth is coming
families,
out.
loads of families who have, you know, they're like, oh no, but white lives matter and white this and British this, and you know, and a lot of them they voted for BNP, you know, they voted for BNP, and that's, you know, their parents, grandparents, and it goes on like that. So it's we have to try and break certain barriers, and you have to understand where people are coming from, but you need to respect each other's views as well. So I think that's the main thing, is respect. If everyone respects each other, then it makes
We're ticking the
conversation,
box.
yeah, it makes conversations a lot more easier.
Okay, okay. So, what are you passionate about? What are you absolutely? What makes you tick? What makes you move? What makes you get up in the morning? Besides your kids.
Yes, my children. Young people, teaching young people,
Hmm.
having a positive impact in young people's lives, um, and just seeing what I can give to them and to build our future, basically our future generations. Because at the end of the day, these are the ones who are going to be our future doctors, you know, our future lawyers, our
I
future,
used to say that
you
all
know,
the time.
yeah, yeah. And even though sometimes I say to them, "Oh my God, God help me, please,"
I know, I know.
but
Because these
yeah,
grades and that career, oh, it's not really matching. Shame.
but yeah,
Yeah, young people.
I'm passionate about teaching our young people to be the best that they can be, and fulfill their fullest potential, basically. Yeah.
And during this time, what do you think we should be doing more of, and what do you think we should be doing less of as we're sort of locked down or at home? You know, what should we be doing more of and less of?
I think we should be doing more of appreciating the little things, you know, looking at our situation, and instead of picking out the flaws of not only our situation but the people around us, not just picking out the flaws but picking out the best things about us, you know, best things about our situation, best things about them, because it's easy to look at the negatives and let that override our thoughts, should I say. Oh,
Yeah, you're loading. I can hear you though. You can keep going.
should be more appreciative of our situation and be thankful as well, because thinking
And
about
less of?
thinking about the COVID.
Oh, sorry, it got broken up. Sorry.
Thinking about the COVID situation, I've personally have known people that have passed away, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm grateful to be here. You know, grateful to be here, grateful to be, you know, a mother to my children, and you reach out to my students. So it's literally just being thankful and appreciative of what you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And less of, what should we be doing less of? Stepping away from?
Stepping away from, I'd say social media. But if I said social media, then, you know, no one, you know, people, you wouldn't be here watching this.
But stepping away from social media doesn't mean completely not being on social media. It means taking it in a measured way, you know, knowing your limits, knowing when it's making your eyes hurt, you know, and being aware of the content, you know, maybe unfollowing things that are not relevant to you. You know, some people, you know, obviously I track what goes on with Black Beetle Health, and, you know, people unfollow us all the time, but other people follow us. And it's important to know what's pertinent to what you need. If it's not pertinent to what you need, then, you know, there's no pressure to follow that platform. So there's different ways to, I guess, position that advice, yeah.
Yeah, with moderation, and like you said, it's just look at things that are positive, having a positive influence in your life. If you feel that it's a negative thing, you need to step away from it. So, you know, cut and clear all the negativity, you know, as much as you can, because without you even realizing, that negativity builds up and it consumes you. And then you start thinking negatively, you start acting out negatively. So it's trying to just make sure that you have as much, you know, positivity in your life.
Well, Adelaide said, catch me on Facebook, Saturdays only. I hear that. You know, it's limits, it's boundaries, yeah. But I guess, speaking of social media, I guess if people, you know, want to ask more questions about some of the work that you've done, maybe in education, maybe in hematology, you know, you never know, in science, what your journey was, if people want to hear about how to be sort of build social wealth, or understand how to work in, you know, I guess communities that are more marginalised, how can they reach you?
Okay, so I can be contacted Léla.Campbell@blackbeetlehealth.co.uk. You can catch me on Instagram, even though I'm not really on Instagram that much. I do try to stay away from social media, but email is the best bet. It is the best bet. And
okay,
also,
amazing.
just add that if there's anyone who would like to, you know, be a positive role model and come into my school, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for positive Black role models to come and talk to my young people, the young people.
Oh, amazing.
So they can actually see that, oh, hey, I can be like you. Or, you know, just have a point of reference, because not everyone has that. So, you know, that I thought I'd add that. Just, you know, anyone network,
oh, amazing.
email me.
Yeah, I so miss education, but yes, gone are the days.
Don't worry, I'll be calling you as well.
Hop on a train. Yeah, yeah, passionate about that, absolutely. Léla, thank you so much for being my guest today. It seems like we kept a good time. You know, we're on 34 minutes. Hey, that's not too bad. Considering that I know that it is Saturday and there's lots of other places people could be. So if you want to get in contact with us, please visit the website at blackbeautyhealth.co.uk. Please follow us on social media. It's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter as well, to see more of the work that we're doing. We have some really exciting things coming up very soon, and we hope you'll be a part of that as well. Again, if you want to contact Léla, her email is Léla, Lela, Campbell, at blackbeautyhealth.co.uk for additional questions or anything like that. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see you tomorrow. We've got Sarah Grant, diabetes educator and health education and resource development officer for Black Beauty Health as well. We'll be sharing her journey through pharmacy, through public health, and also what her experiences are like as a Black professional as well. So thank you so much again, Léla, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right. See ya. All right. Bye, Harvey.
Good day. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
take care. Bye.